because I am curious about this one. Did you guys see? Now, Sorority Row is a remake of the House on Sorority Row from the 80s.
Yes.
And I quite like the original. The new one I like. It's just a very modern retelling of the original. It feels much more like just a regular Millennium slasher, but it also feels like I Know What You Did Last Summer, because there's like a prank that goes wrong, but they're kind of in the same situation as I Know What You Did Last Summer. And then there's a killer with a tower iron that looks similar to the fisherman, the hook guy. So you can get Sorority Row and I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of mixed up if you're not like too privy. So yeah, I'm sharing that tab. So let me kick over here.
There are a lot of those 80s slashers that kind of had that prank go wrong. Kind of, I mean, isn't the original Prom Night kind of like that too? Like bullying someone,
that's
and
a big horror
they don't mean for that person to get hurt, but the person gets hurt and dies. And
I mean, you could do a top 10 prank horror, because there's been so many freaking, about a prank gone wrong. There's just been so many of them. Sorority Row 2, Josh Stolberg teases an upcoming sequel. So this is another thing we were talking about not too long ago, about sequels that remakes that don't have a run of like 2 or 3 movies after. That just never happens. So could this be the exception? I don't know. It was way back in 2009, good year for horror, by the way, that Sorority Row came along as a remake of the 1982 slasher, The House on Sorority Row, with Josh Stolberg and Pete Goldfinger scripting the fresh take on the 1980 slasher. And it's Stolberg's who was keeping the hopes for a sequel to the remake alive over the years, taking to Twitter just the past weekend to offer an intriguing tease. So we can skip down here, because it says, when a fan asked Stolberg for an update on Sorority 2 this past weekend, he replied, "It's happening. Got to get through my current movie first before we dive in full force. New film at Lionsgate shooting this summer, and they hold the rights to Sorority Row." So I would welcome that. I would kind of welcome, like, I guess more of a remake of the original. I just like the vibe of the original, whereas this one feels more cookie cutter. Whereas the original definitely has its own thing going, So, and I don't know. Have you guys seen both the original and the remake?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. Which one did you prefer?
The remake. And it's not high praise, actually, because I wasn't a huge fan of the remake myself. It was dumb fun, but I haven't seen the original since.
Yeah, it's got the Jasper killer.
My mom showed it to us. So that was definitely, I don't have fond memories of that one. I probably should go back and rewatch that. It's probably been at least 20 years, but the remake I watched for the second time, probably last year. And I remember being like, because there's been talk of this sequel for a while, on and off for a long time. And I was like, I need to go back and rewatch this and see if this is something that actually like warrants a sequel.
Yeah.
And I would totally watch a sequel to it. Do I think it needs one? No. But it's fun, Yeah,
it's just it's a good, like, Saturday night slasher, going to the movie theater, getting your popcorn, and I'd watch it. I'd have fun with it. That's the fun thing about slasher movies. You don't have to go too deep with them, right? Just give us some nice fresh kills, and it'd be cool if it kind of throws in a little twist in there or something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
I've only seen the original, so it sounds like I need to check this one out, though. I mean, it's got what Carrie Fisher is in there. It looks, I totally see what you're saying, though. It's got that I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of vibe
just
there.
Like I Know What You Did Last Summer. It feels exactly like that.
I watched the trailer in preparation for tonight, which pretty much just lays out the whole plot there. So it sort of gives you a condensed version of what's going on without like spoiling, of course, who the person is and all that. But it sounds like one I've got to check out. Definitely gave me, as I was watching the trailer, I was like, oh, I wonder if this has like Black Christmas 06 kind of vibes as far as like these characters go, or the execution, or as far as being maybe a movie that I didn't think much of at the time, but is, aged a bit well. If Jamie says she prefers the remake of it, then I trust Jamie's judgment. We have a pretty, we're pretty in step with each other as far as taste goes. So that's great.
Yeah. So Nick, have you seen Thunderbolts?
I have not. I saw that they're rebranding it now. Feel like that's an interesting decision.
Yeah, that's is that a first?
I don't know, man.
Kind of a spoiler.
Yeah, it is kind of a spoiler, and I mean, it's all over the place. They're like, "Hey guys, by the way, this is the name."
They
of
had
the
to get through the
movie now.
weekend, and then they were like, "Okay, let's try to get some more numbers. So let's go ahead and change the name." But I was thinking, is this the first time in history that a movie's changed its name after the opening weekend?
The only thing I can think of that's even close to this in my lifetime, and it wasn't the same thing because it was right before the movie came out. Where, if you remember back in the 2010s, when Blair Witch was called The Woods up until right before it came out. And then I remember
that
they did the premiere at some festival like 2 or 3 weeks before the movie came out. And everybody went into the premiere and there were posters outside that said The Woods. And when everyone came out, they had switched all the posters out to say Blair Witch.
Wow.
And
that's insane.
That's when the news broke, like, this is actually a sequel to the Blair Witch Project. But that's the only thing that I can think of in my life that's even close to this. And even then, that was the 11th hour, but still before the movie came out.
Yeah, they did it with that movie that ended up being called The Watch. It was called Neighborhood Watch. And then there was the whole George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin thing that happened that they were like, well, we don't want to associate with like the Neighborhood Watch, so we'll just call it The Watch. And then more recently, totally after the fact, but that Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1, they're like, no, not Part 1 anymore. Yeah.
Well, I won't spoil anything.
Somebody mentioned Harley Quinn as well. That did happen too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it had that super long title at first.
Yeah. So
I won't spoil anything, Nick, but I did go see Thunderbolts for a second time on Saturday. Loved it. It's such a refreshing MCU movie. It doesn't even really, like, even though it has characters from the MCU, it just has a different vibe than I think the rest of the MCU does. And there's like Incredible Hulk 2008 has a different vibe too, but I kind of like that when the MCU steps outside of its comfort zone and says, hey, let's make a completely different, quirky type of movie. Let's even change up the cinematography and let's have some deeper stuff, like, characters that are actually depressed. And I like that this movie had the balls to explore themes like that, depression, and it really leans into it, but it still finds a good balance. And it's still very fun, very action-packed, funny at times. If I had to critique it, if I had to give one little negative, maybe they tried to lean a little bit too much on the comedy at times when they didn't need to, but you're going to get that in the MCU.
Yeah. I'm going to definitely see it a second time for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering too, like, as somebody that's not super well versed in the MCU, it really just seems like most fans are just waiting for the next Avengers movie. Like, it's also crazy how much expectations have changed in recent years in America, just with Hollywood. Like, $160 million global opening or 70 million global opening is a like ho hum. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? That's a shitload of money. Like, if Halloween 2018 made 250 million and we were like, holy fucking shit, like, this is insane. And I get it. It's not apples to apples because of the budget and the expectations, but like, still, I mean, that's another conversation for another day. But I do think, I was talking to my buddy Jaden about it, and I was like, dude, we were talking about how these multiverses and team up movies and stuff, and he was wondering why they're still doing it. And I was like, because they're still going to make money. Phase 4 hasn't really hit, but as soon as Doomsday comes out, it's going to make $1 billion. Everybody knows. Like,
it will.
It is what
and
it
I'm
is.
excited for it, if I'm being honest, because this movie set up some things that are really interesting. And I'm not going to spoil anything from Nick because I want Nick to watch this movie, but I'm excited for the future.
I think this movie's going to have it's going to have a good, like, second and third week in the theater. I think there are going to be people that revisit it. And I think that the word of mouth is going to hopefully make some people who kind of gave up on the MCU give it another shot. And another great thing, just for anyone in the chat that's like, I have given up on the MCU, I was right there with you. And the great thing is, you don't need to know. You don't need to catch up on anything to really understand what's going on here. And they don't there's no exposition dumps. It's just sort of a fresh approach. And it's still, like you said, Lee, it still is able to have some fun while not undercutting the serious aspects of the film as well.
And it jumps right into the action too, like right away. So I think it's very well paced. And I was with you. I was like you, Davey. I had no expectations. I was like, okay, I'm kind of MCU'd out now. I'm going to go into this movie not expecting anything. Hopefully I get some good nachos. And I ended up enjoying it. Nick doesn't like those nachos, but that's okay.
I can't stand the fucking nachos. Stop chomping. I can hear you from Florida chomping on your nachos, Lee.
Lee, they changed the fucking nachos at Cinemark, dude. They're gluten-free now and they taste like shit.
Yeah.
I used to get the same thing every time. I would get popcorn, nachos and cheese, and a Coke. And the last 2 times I went, it was this new bag and the chips. And I'm like, these taste like
they
ass.
say gluten-free on them. Yeah.
I'm like, this is bullshit. Like,
you know
I'm
what those
not
are,
watching
Nick?
my figure. What?
Yeah, you know what those are? They're just recycled ticket stubs.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it tastes like. It tastes like
like cardboard. So there you go.
I'd like drown it in cheese, and I'm still like, this is not enough. It's terrible. I don't know what they've done.
Yeah, my wife, she'll literally we get the nachos. She'll take 2 chips, soak them in cheese, and she won't touch them for like 20 minutes. And the gluten-free ones, when she pulls them out, they're still hard.
Oh my God, I know.
20 minutes later. It's Bronson Wright Wolf. He says, Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy were in Shrek together. What are your thoughts on Eddie and Mike playing multiple characters in some of their movies? I guess I'm neither here nor there with, it's admirable to be able to handle multiple characters and like what he did with Nutty Professor, having to get in all those different costumes. Same thing with Mike Myers, with Austin Powers. It all depends on the movie, really. I mean, you could do all that, but if you got a shitty movie, it doesn't matter. But man, when Austin Powers came out, those 3 movies were like, everybody talked about Austin Powers. He might have been the most quoted character in movie history at the time. And
imitated.
Then he just somehow vanished. It was strange, man.
Yep. Oh, we're gonna get that Legacy sequel at some point.
I was thinking talking about this the other day to somebody, and I think because Vern Troyer died, I don't know if we ever will. I really don't because Mini-Me was such a big part of that. I don't think it's a huge part of just Dr. Evil's character.
Tough.
Yeah.
Or if they work it in, if they work it into the story, if they work it in, but even So I Married an Axe Murderer is great, and of course Eddie Murphy played multiple characters in Coming to America. It's all about what's written in the script and how it's done. But I think they're both capable.
You got to get you a good church girl. Go to church. That's where I'm going. Shit.
Yeah, I mean Eddie Murphy plays like the old Jewish guy in the barbershop. You know, it's really really good stuff there.
Michael J. Fox played multiple characters in Back to the Future Part 2.
He sure did. And 3. He plays his great grandfather.
He sure did. They earned their money.
Seamus McFly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Seamus. Yeah. I love Back to the Future Part 2. 3 kind of falls off for me a little bit, but it's still a good closer to the trilogy, I guess. Let's move on to the next story though. Let's see, which one do we want to go with? Do we want to do Sorority? You know what? I'm dying. I haven't watched a couple of these trailers, so let's do a trailer story. So let's go to this one. Share this tab instead. And then I can close this. And I can close this, close some of my, some of this crap. Shit. Okay, we're not covering weapons. All right. I swear, weapons is the Matt Damon of Hit the Bricks. I swear, I think for the last 3 Hit the Bricks now, we were going to talk about weapons, and we never get to it. So yeah, that's
really
a
good.
Jimmy Kimmel joke, by the way. You guys know that there's a Jimmy Kimmel joke. He says, "Well, we're going to have this guest and this guest and this guest and Matt Damon if we have time." He always says that, and then he never gets to Matt Damon. So, damn it. All right.
I can't think of Matt Damon without Team America.
Yeah. He actually did have Matt Damon come out on one of the episodes. He comes out, he sits in the chair, and then Jimmy Kimmel goes, "Shit, look at the time." and then Matt Damon freaks out, and he's like, "Motherfucker." It is funny. Okay. Fear Street Prom Queen. I have not. Have you guys watched this trailer yet?
Yeah.
I have not.
I haven't watched it. It. Sorry, now I'm just thinking of Team America.
Dude, Team America's about Matt Damon.
Hans Bricks.
I know the entire Everyone Has AIDS song. I've known that song since I was a fucking kid. All right. We need a sequel to that.
What's the one song? You like a woman. I can't remember the name. It is.
Are you in Team America?
Yeah, Team America.
Oh God, the only songs I remember are "Everyone Has AIDS" and Kim Jong.
Freedom Casablanca 5.
Well, yeah, that, yeah.
Yeah. The vomit scene in the alleyway went from funny to not funny to funny for me all within like a minute.
No. That movie has the worst fucking puppet / doll sex I've ever fucking seen.
Oh,
okay?
it's great.
If you think Bride of Chucky is cringy, no, this shit, it's awful.
The love scene between the two dolls.
Yeah,
this is what you come for when you
the unrated version is the way to go.
Yes.
Well, hello there. You just watched an outrageous clip from the Hit the Bricks podcast. I really hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more clips, you can click here or you can click here. And you can just have yourself a ball, all right? And also follow the Hit the Bricks podcast on Spotify as well. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.